Hey there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is part of a hop celebrating the release at Trinity Stamps. This February release is full of everything St. Patrick's Day. So this is a hop. That means there's a giveaway. Check out all the details in the description box below. I get to share with you a really cool stencil add-on. So this is the checkered background stencil. It came out in last month's release, and now they've added the checkered background Clover add-on. So we're going to play with this two ways on two different shaker cards today. So let's jump into card number one. First, I'm going to stencil this light green cardstock using Cracked Pistachio Distress Oxide ink. And this first pass of the stencil is just going to give us half of the background that I want. Now you could leave it this way. When you do your second stencil, you could always do another color. That's a really fun look, but I'm going to go for traditional checkered. So in order to do that, you need to clean your stencil off and flip it over and then fill in those open spots to complete the checkered look. So again, I am using the same exact color. I like this just a little bit of a darker shade than my paper, and I'm going to add a lot to it so it makes it a little less busy when it's monochromatic like this, and I think it's really pretty. So let's take a look at the checkered background. Gorgeous. You could use this for so many things, checkered, but now we've got our Clover stencil we can add, and you can see you can put it in the openings or right on top of the checkers. It's your choice. That gives you lots of options. I love products with options. So now we have our Distress Oxide ink in lucky Clover, because what else would I use, right? And I'm going to go over the top of this, filling in the Clovers very carefully because they have super skinny little stems. So you want to make sure and get ink down into that little area of the stems. So I'm about done with this, and wait till you see it. It is so darn cute. Let's take a look. Oh, get that stem. And here's the finished stencil pattern. I'm going to set that aside and bring in the stitched Shamrock Die set. There's another Shamrock set. It's the Shamrock Swirl set. It also has a foiling plate. Very cool. I will have a video with that very soon. But this one you can see has stitching in it. So you can die cut it out, and it's going to put stitching into the shape, and I think that's really cool. I'm going for pink on my Shamrock today because I like non-traditional colors. Now, I felt like my stitching didn't show through as much as I really wanted. So I can follow the directions on my universal plate system and flip that over, use the adapter plates and the embossing pad, and it's going to press that into my cardstock even more, and I love all that detail. So now that that's ready to go, I'm going to glue this down to a window sheet because I am making two different shakers. This one's going to sit on top of my background. Once that glue's set for a minute, then I came in with my scissors and I'm just cutting away any excess of that window sheet. I like to undercut, so I turn my scissors so the bottom blade is angled towards the item that I'm cutting out, and that helps it not show around the edges. Next, I have my die cut side up, and I'm tracing around that, and then I can cut this out with my scissors and have the base or the background of my shaker. And I just chose a little bit lighter pink, a really pale pink cardstock. And when I cut this out, the pencil line is actually going to be on the back side. So if for some chance this was going to show, which it won't on my shaker, but the pencil lines wouldn't be there. Also, I am going to cut on the inside of the line because the tracing around the die actually makes it bigger than the die cut. And now I flipped it over, and then I can just line things up and see if anything needs adjusted. And yeah, there was a little spot there. So I went ahead and trimmed that down before going forward with my shaker, and it's a really good idea just to stop and pause and check that. So these are the Trinity Stamps foam strips. They're really good for going around intricate shapes like this that you want to turn into a shaker. Good for sentiment strips, good for popping up your cards. So I thought it was really handy to have them to make this shaker. Now I'm not going to go all the way to the center because I want it to be one shaker, but you could go around each individual heart and have 4 different colors of a shaker. Wouldn't that be so cool? So there's a third way you can use this stitched Shamrock die to create a shaker. I'm just going all the way around, and curving these is really easy to do. Then I will add some to the stem as well so it's not loose. And then my Clover cluster embellishments are what is going to fill this. These are brand new. They're very like holographic green and just little confetti pieces. I think they're so very cute for this shaker. Next, I'm going to add in some micro beads. These are clear. They're really going to help things move around. Plus, they sound so awesome in a shaker card. So I'm going to remove all the backing off my foam tape and add some more adhesive, some liquid glue, because when you curve this around, it gets little like ripples in it, and I don't want any of those micro beads to escape. They're so tiny, and a sad shaker is one that when you shake it, that things fall out. I don't know, maybe there's a kind of shaker card that when you shake it, you'd want it to fall out. What kind of shaker would that be? Maybe like money? I don't know. I'm going to think on that now, though. Okay, so then again, I went around and trimmed off anything that I thought might show. Once I adhered this down, you know, you could have little areas that might, you know, sneak out from behind. So I just need to lay everything where it's going to go before I start stamping out my sentiment. This is the Simply Sentimental Lucky stamp set. Now, if you don't know, Trinity Stamps has a large line of Simply Sentimental stamp sets. Simply Sentimental Thanks, Birthday, Holiday, You, Hello. I mean, there's a bunch. I will link them for you below because you can mix and match them together. They all have whatever word they are repeated several times in different fonts, and then sub-sentiments you can put with it. It's so fun. Plus, all the fonts are the same in all the Simply Sentimental sets, so you can mix and match them together. It's so cool, and it makes me so happy. So this one says, wishing you luck and a lot of love. I embossed it with gold powder because I love a touch of gold in my St. Patrick's Day cards. And I think that these are just fun to send out during the month of March to remind somebody that they're awesome, that you love them. And that is what I'm going to do with these cards. So I am gluing this down to my A2 size card base. That is an 11-inch by 4 1/4 inch piece of paper scored at 5.5. And then I'm going to add an embellishment from the Glow Garden Flowers. This came out last month. These actually do glow in the dark. So remember that. That gives you more options you can do with these flowers for sure. But I thought it looked really cute in the center of my Clover there, my shamrock. So there it is, shakety shake. And there's my gold saying. I love the background. I think it's so much fun that I had to create a second card. I had more ideas with this that I wanted to do. So let's jump into card number 2. This time I'm going to reverse everything. So the background is now going to be pink. So I use that super light pink cardstock, and I am putting Kitsch Flamingo Distress Oxide on as my checkerboard. And I'm going to do just like before, where I clean it off, flip it over, and use the same color to fill in the holes. Of course, you could do like a darker shade, and that would be really fun too, but I have plans for these checkers. So let's see what happens. First, I am going to do my Lucky Clover Distress Oxide ink with the Clover add-on stencil. This time, the shamrocks are going in the openings instead of on top of the checkers. So different than how I did it before, so you can see what that looks like too. And I think the pink and the green together is so much fun, but I couldn't stop there. I brought in the heart add-on. This also came out last month for Valentine's Day, but you know I'm going to be using this heart stencil all the time because these work so good either with the checkerboard or on their own. But look at that with the picked raspberry on top of the Kitsch Flamingo. It's so good. Now for this shaker, I'm doing an inlaid shaker. So this is going to be below the surface of the background on the card. I am taping my little Shamrock die in place, and then you can see I've got some really fun fallout pieces. I could make a whole nother card, but I think I'm going to stick that shamrock there on the inside of this card because it's just so cool. Okay, to build our shaker, first thing I'm doing is adding my window sheet to the back. I'm using liquid glue and a piece of window sheet or acetate and sticking that down. Having this on first is going to allow me to then glue on top my green shamrock. Just like that, it sticks right to the window sheet. And now it really defines that space. The next thing is to build the reservoir for the shaker. So I've got my roll of foam tape here, and I'm putting foam tape everywhere, but making sure to have a nice tight square around my shamrock where the shaker bits are going to be so they don't escape. This time I'm also using that Clover mix, but adding in some pink seed beads, so going a little different again. And I did go ahead and add a little bit of liquid glue. It gives me a little bit of time to move that background if I feel I need to do it. And guess what? I totally got it on crooked, peeled it off, stuck it back down. Woo! And there's my shaker. So next we need a sentiment for this card. Actually, first I did stick a flower in the center because there's also green flowers in that glow set. Okay, back to the Simply Sentimental Lucky. With the dies, they give you dies you can cut out the letters too. So you can choose to stamp them or die cut them. There's a shadow layer, which by the way, the shadow layer can be used to stamp the word lucky on, and then it's already die cut. So it's a really cool set. All right, let's glue these on, and I did the light green and the dark green. If you wanted this to just say luck, you could trim off that Y. It looks like it'd be pretty easy to do. But mine's going to say lucky, and then I need to stamp my sub-sentiment, which I decided to, my card's almost done. I might as well go ahead and stamp right on it. This is crazy, but I figured if I mess it up, I can always stamp it on a second piece of paper and glue it over the top. But guess what? That didn't happen. It turned out really good. So all I need to do now is glue down the word lucky, just like that. I'm adding this to my A2 size card base, and there is my second shaker card. This background, oh, I love it. I love all the different ways that I can use those checkered stencil add-ons together, alone, separate. Oh, it's so fun. So there is a glimpse at a few of the new things from this release. I'm loving everything in it. It's been so much fun to play with them. I will have more videos for you in the coming days using these things, so be sure to stay tuned to my channel. But also, this is part of a hop. So check the description box below for the next stop on the hop. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on your hopping so that you can be entered to win a $25 shopping spree to the Trinity Stamp Shop. Plus, we're doing an Instagram hop for another chance to win a $25 shopping spree. So I have a link to my Instagram for you below. If you have not followed me over there, you can do that. And I will see you guys again very soon on the next video. Happy stamping! Bye!